Hello, YouTube. Once in a while, I share stories about very unusual treasures discovered in Eurasia, specifically in the Russian Empire, in the Soviet Union, even in China. Well, this one is very interesting. I would say even fascinating. This took place in the Caucasus a long time ago, in 1877. Georgy Dmitrievich Filimonov, director of the Rumyantsev Museum, arrived at the Kazbek Highlands station located on the Georgian Military Road or Highway. His mission, entrusted by the Moscow Imperial Society of Devotees of Natural History, Anthropology, and Ethnography, sounded mysterious. To explore the place where the curious things came from. Bronze figures of naked people in strange poses. We're talking about a monument located right on the territory of the modern village of Stepantsminda. Having recruited a team of 10 workers, Filimonov began excavations right in the courtyard of the local prince's house. So there's this prince, local Georgian prince. He has a house, and the site is his courtyard. The villagers' interest was huge. According to the archaeologist's memoirs, the whole entire village watched the work of scientists. And luck was not long in coming. By lunchtime, at the depth of about 2 bayonets of the shovel, as a measurement, you can imagine it, it's not difficult, the workers came across something unusual, a cluster of ancient objects. But that was just the beginning. The most amazing find was made in the late afternoon. In the gathering dusk, by the light of torches and under the gaze of the crowd, Filimonov extracted a stunning find from the ground, a silver ball wrapped with chains. There were other artifacts inside it. The ball itself, as experts later determined, was made in the exquisite style of the Achaemenid art of the 6th to 5th centuries before Common Era, evidence of distant cultural ties. Stunned by the value of the treasure and sensing the greedy curiosity of the crowd, Filimonov hastily collected the finds in his bag. Turning to the head of the village and the princely family with a request to protect the excavation, he left. Imagine his amazement and anger the next morning. Boys were scurrying around the courtyard offering pieces of the very bronze figurines that the archaeologists had not managed to extract the day before. The insolence of the robbers was such, Filimonov wrote bitterly in his report, that they sold to me through the mediation of small boys objects that they had dug up during the night, and deliberately for the sake of profit they had broken into several pieces. Further excavations yielded nothing. Filimonov was forced to leave with what he had saved, about 200 unique objects made of bronze, silver, and iron, which became known as the Kazbek treasure. This haste and the nighttime robbery had unfortunate consequences. Scientists are still arguing about the exact location of the find and its context. Was it a deliberately hidden treasure, or was it the site of some kind of sanctuary? The items delivered by Filimonov made a splash at the anthropological exhibition of 1879 in Moscow. Contemporaries accustomed to the harmony of Greek sculpture were struck by the strangeness of naked Caucasian bronze figures frozen in motion, step, swing, dance, deer figurines, phallic images, fibula, clasps, belts, and parts of weapons. This collection marked the beginning of a serious study of the bronze anthropomorphic sculpture of the Caucasus. The sensation was so great that the following year an entire expedition of the luminaries of archaeology, such as Count A.S. Uvarov, arrived at the Kazbek station. Count arrived with his wife, Praskovia Sergeyevna, and others. Alas, as Countess Uvarova wrote later, despite the prince's kindness, they failed to find anything meaningful. Enterprising locals managed to sell the remains of curious things to the passer-bys. Therefore, today fragments of the Kazbek treasure are scattered all over the world. The main part is kept in the State Historical Museum in Moscow and the National Museum of Georgia in Tbilisi, but some items have settled in museums of St. Petersburg and even Europe. What makes this find so special and mysterious? First of all, the figures themselves. Men and women are almost always depicted naked, emphatically dynamic. Men are more likely to swing weapons, play musical instruments. One mysterious axe-like object turned out to be a rattle with bells inside, and bring ritons, drinking horns, to their mouths. Women, as a rule, hold dishes, children, or hold out a horn, but they never drink for it themselves, a hint of strict ritual rules, according to scientists. Even getting on a horse differs. Men ride in a military manner, women always sideways, according to an ancient Middle Eastern tradition, long before the invention of the women's saddle. Sometimes horsemen or standing figures are depicted on the heads of sheep or fantastic two-headed creatures whose image may have been inspired by Caucasian antiquities or something else. There are ancient legends about the two-headed creatures, and not only in the Caucasus. It is the nature of the finds, the abundance of clearly ritual objects, human and animal figurines, phallic symbols, scepter heads, cult utensils, as well as the way they were originally placed, clustered under stones rather than in the grave, that make many researchers to see the Kazbek complex not just a treasure but a sanctuary. Objects dating mainly from the 6th to 4th century before Common Era and belonging to the late stage of Koban culture could be votive gifts to deities. Every detail on these figures, headdress, belt, jewelry, gesture, is a potential clue to the solution of long-lost rituals. Again, this is according to scientists. They always like to attribute everything to rituals. But many details remain a mystery. What is the woman holding in her hand? Fish or ear? Who or what do fantastic animals symbolize? The Kazbek treasure scattered around the world and devoid of an accurate archaeological context continues to excite the imagination and raise questions that have yet to be answered. Very unusual treasure and the objects from it. Check out my other videos about the Caucasus. Armenia, Azerbaijan, Dagestan, Ingushetia, Georgia. Incredible lands, beautiful, with ancient history, with strange discoveries and strange monuments and much more. Look, I've been to Georgia, but many decades ago. But it's back then, and now it's a fascinating country. And a place of paranormal phenomena few know about in the West. But, just the same, I would say about Azerbaijan, Armenia, other countries I mentioned there, or parts of the Russian Federation. Very, very interesting, from the dolmen to UFO sightings. And I have a video about that in the Middle Ages and strange depictions in the Georgian monastery and the ancient civilizations of Armenia, the Caspian Sea mysteries, from Azerbaijan and other lands around. I think you'll find my videos interesting. If you like my research, please support through the links you find in the description to this video. Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.